Hey guys, well as you know I'm not too well at the moment, so what I've been given though is an app called Hiiker. So they've asked me to do a bit of a review of it, so that's what I'll be doing today. So I'll go through it on the mobile app and I'll show you how to use it, navigate it. I've also took it on a walk out before I was ill, so I can show you how it works and take you through some of the features. And what I'll also do, I'll compare it to the current one I use, which is Outdooractive, and then get a bit of a comparison on the features, the costs, pros and cons, and then I'll give you an honest summary at the end. I'm not being paid to do this, it's not a paid promotion anyway, just my opinion, and I will give a genuine opinion. Those of you who know me know that I don't give any bullshit out. So that's what I'll do starting from now. We'll go from the mobile app and then also show how it tracks, and we'll also go and do something on the desktop as well. So this is the main screen, and essentially you've got a sort of very quick menu. You've got stuff at the top, such as the first tab is the activity, which shows you various things about your personal profile, various suggested trails, although this seems to come up with things that are quite far away in Kent. And then there's a community tab, so community hikes, so things that you've done or people have recorded, so you can go and look at those. And then there's various articles. It's just quite good. There's podcasts, articles, that type of thing in there, which are a good read. So there, and then yeah, like I said, podcasts. So people do various podcasts, which are also worth a good look. So that's essentially the main tabs across the top. So I'll go through each of those. So activity is probably the more important one. So essentially, if you look here, you have find a map. You can search for a hiking trail. You can record a hike. You can plan a hike, and you can start a support chat. It shows any hikes you've got recorded, how far you've walked, what elevation you've climbed, and the time you've recorded so far. And they're basically all time, or you can do it over a period of a number of days, which you can set. Start of the week, start of the month, start of the year, all time. Okay, so that's quite useful if you want to see how you're doing, or if you've got any challenges on. And then your recent activity, recorded trails, or you planned a hike. So I've planned a trike and I recorded a trail there. And then any recent trail reviews in the community, so where people have gone on and reviewed a trail that someone's put up, because you can publish these things, they're on there as well. Okay, so that is your sort of main tab. So if I go from the quick start, find a map, you can look at different maps that are available in your area. There are quite a few maps on here, and they have done it from free, which is good. But you can see here, there's the Ordnance Survey, Outdoor, Satellite and Landscape. You've got these 3 map layers here. So, various different ones, nature, hiker trails. Obviously the main one that we're going to use really is going to be basically the Ordnance Survey map, which is what I've got set here. Okay, so this shows your active map layers. You can add new map layers. So if I go onto that, you can look for different layers and search for them. Okay, so that's quite cool. And they do, like I say, they do quite a few free ones, not the Ordnance Survey. That's what a map screen looks like, so I'll show you that in a minute. So I'll go back to the home screen. So that's finding a map. You can find different maps and sort of different views. You can search for a hiking trail. This is an American company, I believe, so it's just quite bizarre that there's no trails. There's 2 trails in this area: Dark Peak via the Pennine Way, Blackburn Brook via Kinder up at Ashop. So again, you can rate these. It shows you how long they are, like 20 odd miles or 2 days. So stuff a bit like Outdooractive really. People's trails, you can go on and rate them, you can go and view them. So if I click on this, it will show me the trail. I can see it on the map, where it goes, etc. So that's what I want to be doing at the moment. You can record a hike, which I've got on a separate video. So when I go on a hike, it will track you, record your time, stuff like that. And then you can plan a hike. So that's the activity tab. Suggested trails, again, you can go and click on those and it will show you suggested trails in the area. You can record it, you can download an offline map. And the other good thing they have done in the free version also is you can download the offline map. which is quite good. You can export it as a GPX file, and you can take that route and customise it to your own ends. People can attach pictures. Again, very, very similar. There are two sort of, I'll go for the commercial ones later, but there's two Free and Pro Plus maps. So you can see here, Ordnance Survey you have to pay for, you get the general outdoors maps for free, satellite maps are free, nature maps, hiker trail maps, landscape maps. The good thing here, they've got some of the old maps as well, but again that's on Pro Plus. Historical maps, which I've not seen on Outdooractive, to be honest. Open Cycle Maps is free, Mobile Atlas is free, Neighbourhood Maps, Transport Maps. So you can see there's a lot of maps available. I would probably say more so than are available on Outdooractive. Whether these are, any use in the UK is another question, but there's a lot of maps, quite a few free maps, but obviously if you wanted to navigate in the UK, you're going to use Ordnance Survey, you wouldn't use anything else. But you might use Harvey Maps. Community again, gone through that before. So anyway, if we come back to the main screen, the first thing I'm going to show you next is how to plan a hike. So very similar to Outdooractive. I'll go to plan a hike. This is the screen. I quite like the layout of the screen. So as you can see in the top here, it's got your grid reference, and I'll go through that in a moment. That's in the settings. You can set it to longitude, latitude or grid reference, and it will show your acceleration on where those crosshairs are. So that's quite slick, because Outdooractive doesn't do that. Well, it does on the compass, but it's not easy just to see on a screen like that, so I do quite like that feature. It shows you the scale there, just below where the grid reference is. You've got these buttons at the bottom. This will, just as like Outdooractive, just shows you exactly where you are. You've got the ability to show different things, so you can show your waypoints, add a new waypoint, import waypoints. So again, these might be items of interest or somewhere you want to go on your route. This is quite good. You can turn on Live Locator. Now, I'll just show you how that works. If you turn that on, you can then send that link there, this link, you can send that to anybody, and you can do it with Facebook Messenger, or you can copy the link, and they can go and see where you are. The only downside to that is you need to have internet on and data on for it to work. You can set a finishing time, so obviously they will know if you said 4 hours and it's been 5 hours, they'll get an alert. So I do like that feature. It's just a shame that you have to have your internet and data on, because that does drain a battery. When I'm out, I don't tend to have my data on. I tend to just have the GPS. But useful feature. The one on Outdooractive, you have to be another Outdooractive user, which is a bit of a downside. So you need to have two accounts. So that's that. Some people have mentioned, and you can probably see it, the maps are sometimes a bit blurry. The 1 to 50,000 is, but if I zoom in to the 1 to 25,000, you can see that is a lot clearer. I'd say that's as good as clarity as you need to do any planning. Okay, so I'll just go and plan a very simple walk now. Okay, so if I just say I want to start here, you just hold down and press. And so there, like that. For some reason that didn't let me do that. You can undo at the top here. So let's just try again. Let's zoom in, it might be because of the... There we are, yeah, okay, so you press, that's point A. It defaults to snap, which means it'll automatically find a route. As you can see there, there's route B, and it will just take the easiest route. Now sometimes, it will just, like for instance there, go up that footpath. If I didn't want to do that, if I just undo, you can turn snap off. So if I just undo that one and just like this, it'll go in a straight line, and I can just do it like that. So that's the other option. Okay, and you can turn that back on, and you get back onto auto, and let's just do a quick circular. So it's as simple as that. You can just go around and keep just pressing and pressing. Very similar to Outdooractive. You can zoom in and out, so along here we just want to do this because it's a bit easier, and do a quick circular down there, Canedale for instance, back to where I am, and then you can say that you've got options here. So you know, the other ways of doing a plan is to import a GPX. You can enter longitude and latitude to go to a specific location, or in this case, grid references, and you can measure the distance and elevation of specific sections on the trail. So again, I'll show you that in a bit. You can reverse a trail, so go backwards, or you can clear it. Okay, so that's quite useful. That. So if I save that, here's what I'll do next. Unfortunately, my recording thing isn't away there. Sorry, my screen recorder, sorry about that. So yeah, press save. That is now there. You can go and edit the details if you want. You know, you can put a name in there. You can put some descriptions in there. Blah 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 blah. All the usual stuff. You can have photos. You can set here. You can view everyone. So a bit simpler than Outdooractive in that sense. You can share it with other people by setting that simple button, whereas Outdooractive you have to go and create a route and add a lot more information on. The information is quite basic, just tells you the hike name, the description, the date and photos, so I can save that. That is now a planned hike, which I can then go and, you know, record against, okay? And I've done another video on recording, okay? So that's how you plan a hike, straightforward enough. And that is very simply what it's all about. You can search for things, so if you go and search for various different aspects, you can search in here for a grid reference, for example, or popular trails, or locations. So if I put Castleton in, for example, and I've done search, comes up with all these walks here, you see. If I go back to the map, again, you can remove the buttons and add them again. You've got your different maps, so you might want to select here and add the map layers like I just showed you, all maps. And as you can see here, there's quite a few maps, 4 in America, 8 in the UK, and various other countries, so you can use them abroad. If I go to the UK, you can see you've got the Harvey and Ordnance survey maps, which you have to pay for them all. So they're the ones available. So for any of those, then you've got to pay for the Pro Plus account. There are others that are free and available, and you've got ones here that are downloaded. So for example, I've already downloaded the Ordnance Survey, because that's the main one I use, but you've got these other ones, landscape and that. Whether they're any good for navigation, I would argue the toss on that. Anyway, so yeah, any other features on here? I don't think so. We've gone through the options. You can download the map area. We download and have it fully available offline, which is obviously quite a good feature, but again, that's showing Pro Plus. So again, I would never trust one of these apps to go out and download the maps when you're out on the hills personally. So you can download the map area, you can choose a specific area in the map, or when you're doing a plan, you can download the planned hike area. That's all the features on there. I'm just checking that one, the waypoints, we've already done that. Okay. Alright, my profile, you know, you can just go and see what you've been up to, like your list, your planned hike, your routes. For example, if we go and look at these routes, just set that, okay, and you can look at that, download the map, you can view the map, go and look and see where the route goes, for example, and come back out of that, then look at the description if you like, stuff like that. So the one thing I will say is Outdooractive does have a lot more information on the routes, so how to get there, whether it's public transport, level of difficulty, stuff like that, which I think is quite useful. It's got medium, for example. You know, you can record this trail, export GPR, there's some stats there, distance, duration, the elevation gain, the average elevation per kilometre, a bit of a description about the walk. One good thing is here, you can print the maps off with Pro Plus as well, so you can go and print a PDF map, print it off, or download it and use that if you want to, rather than using, you know, navigation for the app. I don't know why you do that, but this is a good backup if you lost signal or anything like that. You can share these maps to various people, Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that. Okay, so that, in a nutshell, is basically the tool, the app. It's very easy to use, very simple. Not as many features as Outdooractive, but then do you need all of those? That's my viewpoint. I've done the search, so you can search here on various things, different hikes and stuff like that. I'm just trying to work out how you can search for a specific location. I'm not sure if you just put it in there. No, you can't. So that's a bit of maybe something that could be improved. If I go and type in here, SK. No, you see that's just like trails. It's not really allowing you to find a specific location, which I'm sure it did. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty certain you can. Fun hike, go to location. Yeah, if you go to location, you can type it in. Yeah, so you can search a location by name, or you can search for a grid reference here. So I've set this to grid references. Okay, so yeah, you can do that through the options screen. It's quite good. Yeah, so that's that element of it. And then the settings, which I will find here, in the settings, these are the things which I quite like. Some of these, so you've obviously got all the usual ones: how you manage your offline maps, do you want to do any purchasing, how you manage your data. I won't bother going through, but the key one here is customization. Your units, so you can do kilometres, miles, miles, feet, miles, yards, etc. I've got it in, and even mix them up: miles and metres, miles and furlongs, and miles and fathoms, and nautical miles, and miles and inches, and light years and meters. I think that's just a joke there, but obviously I've set mine to miles and feet. I'm a bit old-fashioned. Map projection, so you can have a Great British Grid reference, the Irish, the New Zealand, or the World Geodetic System, which is latitude and longitude. Your over zoom setting, so I'd set it to 0, but you can zoom in a bit more. Hiker time set. This is quite good. You can't do this on Outdooractive. I found nowhere where you can set your rate. So that's a good idea there. You can set that to what the closest to your personal rate. I'm not sure if Outdooractive works that out from your history, but anyway, you can set it to your flat rate and then how much 600 metres per hour, 5 kilometres and 600 metres per hour, for example, or 4 kilometres and 500 metres an hour. So that's quite good actually. I like that. Orientation setting, you can allow rotation, or a bit old-fashioned again, you can set the map to always point north. Temperature setting, Celsius, Fahrenheit, or Kelvin. Offline map quality, so again you can do different. The only thing here is it will take more memory on your phone, so you've got standard resolution, high resolution and ultra high, so you get a bit better element of zooming, but the 12 seems fine to me. You can set at what interval it records your location, so a shorter interval is obviously more accurate but more intensive on the battery, and conversely if you go for a longer interval. I've gone with a default of 30 seconds, but you could do this every minute. It wouldn't be a problem. And then some privacy settings, so set all your recordings to private, all your trails until you save them. So it's quite useful. I particularly like the hike time setting one. That was quite useful. Measurement units and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that is pretty much the app. It's a fairly new app. I think it's been out a year or two. I'll put some more info up about that. So yeah, very easy to use, not too complicated. Probably not as much functionality or as much information as Outdooractive, but I'll do a comparison at the end. So yeah, that's how you use the tool. It's easy to download off the App Store, etc. So okay, I'll catch up with you when I've gone for the desktop version. In the Hiiker tool, this is the home page, but today I'm just going to navigate a hike. So what I've done, I've gone to the map. First thing I've done, which is quite cool, this yellow icon here. It allows you to send a locator to anybody, so they don't have to be on the app. So that's quite cool, because I think Outdooractive, you have to, the other person has to be on Outdooractive. So I sent that to her and shared it with my partner, so she's going to track me as I go around this walk. You can set a finishing time, so I'm guessing it would alert someone there if you don't get back in time. So I've done that. I'm now going to go onto my profile, and I've planned a hike, which you'll see elsewhere. Dig the picture. Go on to planned hikes. Go into the hike. I've already downloaded the map, so it does download offline. And I'll now start to record the trail, which I'm just about to go out. Make sure to stop recording if your device is idle. Open device settings. Didn't really know what that was meant to be doing. Anyway, well, we'll see how we go. So we're going to start this now. So that's good. It's show me where I'm going to go and the route to follow. And so we'll crack on with that, and I'll catch up with you later. Well, the maps are, you know, quite clear. Some people have complained about them. I think it's more than 1 to 50,000 maps. That's still tracking me. You can see your details, your location. So that's quite nice. I like that. You can see instantly your grid reference, your elevation, total distance, speed, all that good stuff, and your current time. So then you can go back to the map, zoom in on where you are. The map will auto it, or you can leave it to set to north all the time. So yeah, so far so good. That's navigated up there really well. You can show the stats here. At 40 minutes, 1.5 miles, 119 foot. And a bit more detail there if you want. So you can hide that. We'll carry on navigating, but yeah, so far so good. This is the Hiiker desktop app. So a little bit more basic. So a lot of this stuff when you're doing, you know, planning and stuff like that, you tend to do in the mobile app, but you can also do it and it's synced with the desktop version. So you can see here I've got my profile information, any recordings I've made. So I've done the one there. I can basically view the map, copy, share or delete. I've got my planned trails, so it shows ones that I've planned, and this is a test one we did earlier, so I can go and edit that if I want. Got my account settings, so again very similar, and just a slightly different way of doing it, but you know, you can go and select and choose your different measurement units, what sort of grid reference you want to use, whether it's a GB grid or whatever. So again, latitude and longitude, that sort of type thing, your orientation. So they're all sort of what notifications you want, so that sort of thing. Information about your subscription, so I'm currently on the Pro Plus for a month. Mailing list, so if you subscribe to their mailing, so very basic stuff down the left hand side there. It's very much an app driven thing. I think you can go to the map here. There's a few little things on here you can go and find out where we are, so let's zoom in. So just allow it to do that, and there we go. We are now zoomed into Castleton. It's taking a little while on my machine. Map layers is probably what we need to do, so if I go to map layers, I want to add more maps because that's just a base one, and what I'll do is go to Ordnance Survey, activate that map layer, close, and I should now, hopefully in a second, have the Ordnance Survey. A little bit clearer on there, but again you can zoom in, zoom out, the 1 to 50,000 and the what's the name 3D maps. Now that isn't something on the app, but that is also something that they do on Outdooractive. So if we go to 3D maps, you can zoom through. That's quite slick. You can see the bit more the profile here. If you look, you can see the hill shapes and the contour lines. So yeah, that's neat. That's a bit different. Yeah, not brilliant, but it's a different way of looking at it, or you can turn that off. I don't know if there's different ones. No, it's just that. Obviously waypoints, you can go to a specific location, and again I set it to UK grid references. Now the only thing I'll say there is Outdooractive has a lot more, lots and lots of different ways you can, and I'll do a screenshot and show them, but there's a lot more different methods of searching for a location. But you know, at the end of the day, what do you need in the UK? Grid references. Start a new planned hike, edit a planned hike. So what we'll do is we'll just go and show you how it works on here. So again, you go on to plan a hike, you can go to my location. You've got a bit more things here. You can loop the route, you can reverse the route, you can update that, and you go into removal mode. So again, different map layers you can show here, but if I go here, I can just simply do that. It's a bit easier to do. Hopefully you can also hide the elevations, so again that's very similar to Outdooractive. You can move through the map, again snap on, snap off and all that sort of stuff's here, but yeah, that's pretty good. also seems to be yeah, a little bit better in terms of working out where you're meant to be going. So again, we can do a very similar hike. It shows you distance and elevation gain. You can zoom in and out, stuff like that. Okay, and you can take off different menu accesses. So yeah, very similar. Shows you your grid reference. I do like that because that's one thing that View Ranger used to do, but Outdooractive doesn't seem to do as well. I can just hover over with my cross and there's a grid reference. You tend to have to do that in a slightly different manner on Outdooractive. It's not as user friendly. You can undo and redo your different points. Again, similar. You can go into removal mode. So rather than take them off, you can just take them off like that. So there's a couple of different ways of doing that. You can snap to the trail or not, which is again is the sort of if I go on here now, it'll just draw a straight line. Okay, so that's it really. Then obviously you can loop it, you can import a trail, you can save a plan, or you can clear the map. So yeah, very similar. We'll go back to the home screen. So you know, there's some information there and all that sort of good stuff. Or I can go to my account. Okay, so that in a nutshell is the desktop version, very similar to the app version. This is very much more an app-driven type thing, I think. But yeah, I'll do a comparison now between Outdooractive, Hiiker, and the pros and cons in my view, as well as the price comparisons and you know, what you're getting for your bang for your buck. Okay guys, so this is now the summary of my review of Hiiker, and I'll compare it to Outdooractive and just give my honest opinion on some of the functions on it. So the first one is having Ordnance Survey maps. Both have that and both are available within the paid versions. Hiiker seems to have more worldwide maps than Outdooractive. Outdooractive has some quite specialist maps, especially if you're into skiing and alpine activities. Both give you the ability to download offline maps, which you need in the paid versions. Routes, so they allow you to plan a route and share it. And there's slightly different ways of doing it, but it's a route is basically something that you shared with everybody else on the platform. Tracking, so they both allow you to track and they're both accurate. I've never had any major issues with either of them when I tried them out. The only thing I will say is that within Hiiker you can customise the tracking speed. So essentially you can set your rate based on various different options, which you don't have that ability in Outdooractive. Planning, so you can plan hikes and save them as a draft or as a plan. Both very similar, not a lot to choose between them all. You can do it in the app or you can do it on a desktop, and it's very simple, click and go. You have the ability to either snap to the path and the quickest route automatically, or you can manually override it and just go in a direct line. Both have the same abilities. Both have the ability to reverse or close a loop on the desktop version. So yeah, nothing really to choose between them there. They both have a very good community section, so things like articles, podcasts, people can review each other's routes and plan tracks, etc., and also rate them. So again, that's very similar. The other element is looking on maps and searching for things like accommodation or amenities. And I will say there that Hiiker seem to have a lot more choice in the types you could select. Outdooractive seems very limited to accommodation and where you can eat and drink, whereas Hiiker had things like shops, etc. I also found that the Hiiker app was very accurate. So when I searched my local area, for instance, all of the pubs were on there, all of the restaurants, all of the shops, all of the campsites. When I used Outdooractive, it didn't seem to have as much information there. I'm not sure how they do it, but the Hiiker was a lot more accurate. So if that's your thing, then planning trips, that's a lot better. Discounts, so that's not available in Hiiker, but with an Outdooractive they do offer discounts on the Pro and Pro Plus versions from different manufacturers of products, so you know you can get a discount code and use that. The search both have a search function. Hiiker's quite a simple one, so if I've set my settings to UK grid references when I search, it will give me the option to do that on a location wise or on a UK grid reference. You can search for place names and trails in both of them. Outdooractive has a lot more but in my mind almost too many. There are so many different options. You know, you have to scroll down, find the one for the UK, grid reference, enter it. So I did like the fact that the Hiiker one was a bit simpler. However, Outdooractive has more options. The interface, the Hiiker interface I felt was a bit simpler and easier to use. It gives you your location on the screen, a little field at the top, and a scale. Whereas an Outdooractive, if you want to look at that, then you have to go and click on the compass icon on the top and it'll tell you where you are. Not a massive difference, but it's still a click you have to take. So I felt the interface was a little bit easier to use. The other thing some people have complained about is that the Hiiker map's a little bit blurry. I found that on the 1 to 50,000 it was, to be fair. However, the 1 to 25,000 seemed clear enough for what I like to do hiking wise, whereas the Outdooractives you could see a difference in the quality. Customization, so both allow you to customize various settings. You'll have seen that in the video. The one thing I did like about Hiiker, you can adjust the pace you walk at, so there's different options, you know, a flat pace and then how much per elevation type thing, whereas an Outdooractive you cannot adjust that. I'm not entirely sure how it works it out, whether it's Naismith's rule or whether it actually knows how long you typically take. I don't quite know, and I'm struggled to find that out. And the interval of tracking, so again on Hiiker you can adjust how often your location is tracked, which will obviously save your battery, so you can set it anything from like 10 seconds up to several minutes. They both allow you to import routes, so you can import routes through GPX files in both of them. Outdooractive also allows you to do it in other formats besides that, and also export them in other formats like KML and others, so there is a bit more flexibility and options there depending on who you're sending it to perhaps. They both allow you to add waypoints where you can put information, set a waypoint, whether that's a place of interest or a stop you're going to take or whatever. Buddy beacon, so both have like a location sender if you like. It's called the buddy beacon on Outdooractive, and location something or other on Hiiker. You do on both of them need to have internet and data for that to work, so that's a bit of a downside because that can sap your battery. Hiiker, you have the option to just send a link to somebody, so you go in, you just send a link, you send it to them, and then they can see where you are, and you can also set a time limit on your walk. Outdooractive is very similar, but also if it's a regular buddy you can just add their email address to your buddy list, and then whenever you turn it on your buddy will get a notification by email automatically, and again you can set a time limit on it. So 3D mapping or planning. Both tools have the 3D map ability, so you can just go on your map and switch to 3D view, and you can view it, and it gives you a bit of an idea of the topography of the area and the route you're following, so you can see any steep gradients a bit easier sometimes. You know, I don't know what you're like with contour lines. I can see them quite well on a 1 to 50,000, but on a 1 to 25,000 you don't always get a feel for the layout. So they both have that. What Outdooractive also has is the ability to create a 3D walkthrough or preview of the route. A route is a published plan or track if you like, and also the ability to export that to YouTube as a video, which you can then share with people. So that's quite nifty, especially if you're a YouTuber. But in a nutshell, they both have the ability to look at 3D maps and navigate through that, so it's different. Now in terms of pricing, they both have a free version. You know, try them, gives you a feel for whether you like the app or not, but if you're going to use it for navigation I wouldn't go with the free versions as they don't have the Ordnance Survey maps on them. The Hiiker has two versions, a Free and a Pro Plus. The Pro Plus is £42 a year, or $5.99 a month. So there is a monthly payment option. However, that does work out quite expensive. Outdooractive, on the other hand, has a Pro and a Pro Plus. So the Pro basically that gives you the Ordnance Survey maps, etc. So that's £2.23 a month, which I think you pay annually if I remember rightly. It works out at about £26 a year. The Pro Plus works out at $44.45 a month, which it works out at 50 something a year, I think it is if I remember rightly. So, and the only real differences on the Pro Plus and Outdooractive is you get the 3D mapping, and you also get some additional maps for alpine use, ski routes, that sort of thing. So if I was to look at them, depending on what you want to do, if you purely want to use it for navigation with the Ordnance Survey map and you don't want all the bells and whistles,
then you might well go for the Outdooractive, which at £26, a year is quite cheap. If on the other hand you wanted all the bells and whistles, the 3D mapping, etc., then you would probably go for Hiiker at £42 a year. The few things I did like about Hiiker were the interface was quite simple. There's more accuracy in terms of accommodation, finding hotels, pubs, shops. I found that really useful. And the ability to customise it in some areas. So it really is a case of I suggest you probably go and have a look yourself. But that's my recommendations based on what I've seen. Both good apps, both say what they say on the tin. There's a little bit of price difference there. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you on the next video.